Hi guys,
Guess who's back?
it's Yaa.
Mide.
Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back.
Hey.
I'm trying to be a singer.
Wow, that was something interesting. Anywho, so we're back with another video today, and for today's video, we want to talk about, what are we talking about?
Good question.
So for today's topic, we want to talk about if it's appropriate for a married couple to seek advice from their pastors, family members, or friends if they have issues. So that is what we are going to discuss now. So if you're interested in knowing our opinion on this topic, then keep on watching. So now let the show
Begin. This topic came about the fact that I've heard so many stories about couples having issues in their marriage, and at the end of the day, the only thing you get to hear is, yeah, my friend said this, or my mom, or my dad. So basically, it causes so much problem in the marriage.
My question to you now is, so if we're having issues and you feel like you're not getting to me, wouldn't you feel like the next step is to involve someone that we could talk to?
Well, actually, I don't buy that idea of involving a third
don't
party.
you buy that idea?
I feel if I can't reach you enough, then I guess something is wrong somewhere. I have to first of all try to reach you to the best of my ability, but I still wouldn't go out to seek advice.
Why?
I'm somebody who trusts my own instinct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is where we clash on this opinion, because
Yes.
I am of the opinion that there will be a point, which I hope it doesn't get to, but there is a point where in a marriage where you try to talk to your spouse and your spouse is just not ready to listen to. And I feel like we should have accountability where there is someone. That's why there's counseling, that's why there's marriage counseling prior to marriage and after marriage. And in marriage, counseling doesn't just necessarily mean there's something wrong. It's like maintaining a car. You maintain your car even to prevent it from having issues. So
Breakdown?
Huh?
Breakdown.
Yeah, so you don't have to wait until your car breaks down before you take it to servicing. You do servicing in between to make sure it is still intact. So that's also what I feel like there's counseling for, that to see, okay, is everything fine, blah blah blah. But that's a different topic for another day. But my point is, I feel like it is important to have someone to talk to you, to be able to talk to you, to bring your sense down, because there's a point in life, in a human being's life, where you get tired of whoever is talking to you because you're so used to the person that whatever they say, you're like, I don't want to hear it. And then someone else who is neutral might come in and say the same thing, and that is when you actually listen. That is my point. That is for me, I feel like, yes, it is actually important. It's not that for any little thing you now run to this person, like I said, when it's critical and there's no way this person is not even listening to anything, nothing, then you know this point you've reached a brick wall. You can't handle it by yourself. You have to speak to someone and get someone involved.
I'm still with my opinion. I wouldn't go out to seek advice from. I've never done it before, and I still wouldn't do it right now. I trust my instinct, because I've heard stories of situations where at the end of the day, it is either the friend or the pastor or the family member, whatever, gave an advice. He or she went about doing the thing that he or she was instructed to do. At the end of the day, it caused more harm than good. For example, if you have done that, I wouldn't be happy with that. If you talk to somebody, because
I wouldn't talk to someone without your consent.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but if it gets to a point where I'm talking to you and you're not listening, then of course I have to involve someone.
So if you can't reach your spouse, that means, I guess it has come to a stage where there's no more communication. So as long as there's still communication, then I don't think there's any reason for you to go out.
But that's what I'm saying. The same thing I said. If get to a brick wall where I'm talking to you on a normal circumstances. When we talk, when we have issues, when we have misunderstanding, we might not resolve it in that very moment, but we would still address it. We are still able to talk to each other. But then, if I'm coming to talk to you and you're not listening, or if you're coming to talk to me and I'm not listening, and that is going on for days, weeks, months, is it healthy then? No. Then someone has to now come and resolve that issue, because then whatever is happening is not like you're not able to handle it because you're still not reaching me or I'm not reaching you.
I guess then if we have an issue where you are unable to communicate with me or I'm unable to communicate with you, before we get to that stage, something must have happened prior to that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen just at that moment. It must have been something that have been previously happening that we never took into consideration, because if there's breakdown in communication, it doesn't start from one day.
Yeah, but that is not the point. Okay, we're now at
The
this
point
point.
is-
So at this point, would you now seek someone, or would you just be like, I'm following my instinct, and because I'm following my instinct, I don't want to involve anybody, but still things are not going on. What would you do now? What would you now do in this situation? Because you're apparently like it's not working. You still cannot reach me.
I guess I'll just open your head and put everything inside and close it back.
Can you be serious? No, on a more serious note, whatever that issue is, that you cannot talk to me and I can't talk to you, but the issue is not being resolved. How are we living our lives as a married couple then? Because then we're not living like in a union anymore.
That's the reason why I said
We're not living in a union anymore, and then it cannot be like because you don't want to involve someone, we are not living in a union, but then we are not progressing because then there is at this point it's a separation because there's no talking.
Then if I'm going to make an exception, then it has to be a neutral entity.
That's what I said, like someone neutral.
Okay. Then I will agree to that. You're not winning. No.
For every person, I am of the opinion, honestly, that it's important that everybody, like at this point where the scenario that we explained, that you reach where you can't reach your spouse, like that deadline where there's no what's it called? No connection, there's no communication, and nobody is talking in the house. There's cold because that issue cannot be resolved because this person is trying to talk to the other person, it's not working. Other person is like, I'm not hearing you. So that means the life as a married couple is on a halt. There's no progress. So I feel like in such a situation, it is vital that someone comes in. For me, I feel like it's important that there's a neutral person who each one is accountable to. It can be one person who we both listen to, or everybody has someone who can speak to the person. Like whoever that person is has to be someone who we can trust. If you were to do that as a couple, make sure that the person you are actually seeking advice from is someone who you can trust, who is not someone who will take your case outside. Because the point of why he does not really like to involve people, because he feels like, why am I even speaking for you? Speak for yourself.
Okay, exactly. I mean, like what she was saying, that's the issue I have with talking to people outside talking about your private life with people, because at the end of the day, it extends to where you don't want it to get to. But if it has to be in the situation whereby I have to talk to someone, I guess it's either the most senior person in the family. Where I come from, I guess you just go to the most senior, which is the father or the mother or the elder in the family. We call it elder. But that is eventually if there's no compromise somewhere. There's no
signal.
Before I now finally decide on what next to do.
Pastor Bedred, because I love so much Pastor Bedred. She said, if the head is touching, when the head is touching, both parties, their head is touching, and there is no way the wire is connected. You need someone to rewire that signal. Then you have to have someone who you're accountable to.
Yeah.
You.
First, I go to the parent. Then, because when I went to marry her, I went to the parents to seek for her hand in marriage. So if it comes to that stage where weeks, months or days, whatever, there's no communication and then we have an unresolved issue, then I first go to the parents, because I went to the parents to seek for her hand in marriage. Then I'm going back to say, this is the case right now, so what do we do? Anyway, so please leave your comments if you share my view, or if you share a view, or your personal view.
We share the same view, but in a different
Yeah,
approach.
in a different approach.
Basically, what are your thoughts? Would you involve someone, a third party, to handle an issue? Not like for any little thing. If you have to go to someone for any little thing, then I think there's an issue from the get-go with communicating with your spouse. But if it's something like major, where like it's going on for days, weeks, it shouldn't go on for more than months. Like if it's trespassing months, then there is a serious issue.
Exactly.
So if it shouldn't get to the point where it's dragging for months, because you have to nip it in the butt, like how you say, before it causes more harm
Then good.
in the union. And let me know your thoughts if you have been in a situation where you had to involve someone to help resolve your differences, or you've always been able to resolve your differences on your own. So let us know in the comment section down below. Okay?
Yeah. And if you're, like you said, those couples who resolve issues without going to the third party, thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Well, so far so good. We've resolved stuff by ourselves.
Eventually.
By God's grace.
Yeah.
Let's pray it stays that way.
Yeah.
With God's help. And I think before we end it, because it just came to my mind, it's important. The foundation is God. Yeah. And I remember that in the beginning, before, that was in our courtship phase, we did this Bible study together where it had to do with marriage and like issues. And if one is to envision that God is our Father, He's His Father, He's my Father, and He is the center of this union. So if anything, it's Him we're supposed to go to first. And if before we do anything to our spouse, we should think about God first, knowing that He's our father-in-law. So if we have to do something to His son, our father-in-law would not be happy with what we would do with each other. So if we would have that in our mind every time, it might help.
It will be like a guiding principal factor in the union.
Exactly. That is the foundation of how to go about resolving things, and knowing that, okay, if there's something, I pray to God and the Holy Spirit would speak to me to know how to speak to my spouse. And I think that is where he was coming from in the beginning. If you haven't already watched our previous video, you can click on the I button right here or there, and it will take you to our previous video. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, give this video a big thumbs up, and also to subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when our next video comes up. We're looking forward to seeing you in our next video. We love you guys so much, but don't forget that
God loves you the more.
Bye!
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.